going to go ahead and get started. Super glad that you're joining us today, Stephanie. Appreciate your time and your attention. I've told these beautiful women that are gathered, mostly whom are, we've got a star, a gold, a couple silvers, and an executive on the call so far. But I've told them since May, when I reached out to you, I'm like, oh my gosh, like Stephanie Moram is like my spirit animal. When I watch you at GoPro, and I've just kind of followed your story because of my relationship with Tracy Black, actually. And so I was like, I just love your vibe, your energy. I love that you push things. And I just want to kind of start there with just how grateful I am for you to be a voice. I've been looking and kind of glomming on to people who are a voice for voiceless folk. And with your initial focus on eco-friendly stuff, you had me at hello. So hello, Stephanie, welcome.
Hey, well, thanks for having me. I'm super excited. Hi to everyone. I guess I'll start by telling a little bit of my story, how I got started with Young Living and all that. I'd also like it to be a little bit interactive. If you guys have questions, please do not be shy. Interrupt me as I'm speaking because I tend to talk a lot and go on tangents. And I don't necessarily have anything 100% planned. I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to say. So like I said, interrupt me. Angela can interrupt me, anyone, and it's fine. So I got started with Young Living in 2014. Prior to that, I had started a website called Good Girl Gone Green. And I started that when my daughter was probably about 6 months old. She's 9 now. And the reason I got started was I had a friend reach out to me and say, hey, you should start a blog. You know so much information and you just need to get that info out there. And I was like, no, I don't write. That's not my thing. In the end, I ended up starting my blog. And the reason how I got into this whole like organic green living was that I was watching Food Inc. and I was sitting with my husband. I was not eating organic. This was in 2009. But even prior to that, I would buy like organic stuff, but I didn't understand why. I was like, they're telling me it's better, so I probably should buy it. And after watching Food Inc., I did like a 180 in my lifestyle. I go all in when I do stuff. There's no like middle. It's literally black or white. So when I got the info from the video, I'm like, oh, no, we're not eating that kind of meat anymore. I'm going vegan. I am vegan now, but at the time it was very short-lived. And my husband said to me, if you want to eat this way and pay this much money for food, then you need to tell me why. I was like, I've got all the time in the world. We were living in the US at the time. I live in Montreal, Canada right now. And we were living in Augusta, Georgia. I'm on a sabbatical from work. I'm a social worker by trade. And I said, I got lots of time to research. Like, don't you worry. So I just started asking questions. I would go to the farmer's market and ask questions. And that's how my natural like lifestyle kind of started, because I'd go to the farmer and be like, why grass-fed? Why not organic? Why can't I have both? Is both better? Just question after question after question. And then I got pregnant with my daughter, which opens up a whole other can of worms, because I started looking at the products I was buying. And I'm like, why do they want us to buy so much stuff for babies? I feel like they're really tiny, and why do they need this much stuff? Why do they need this much clothing? Why do they need this? So I started questioning everything. And I actually bought essential oils right before I was pregnant. I got them like some health food store brand. I never actually opened them, but I was just always staring at them like, how do I use these? So I got started on this path because, again, when my daughter got pregnant, so didn't have a smartphone, and I would go to the health food store and I'd buy like 7 deodorants. I'd come home and research them all and then return the ones I didn't want, because I wanted to make sure the ingredients that were in my products were safe. So this just goes on for like the last 9 years of my life. This is my life. Like researching, looking stuff up, and finding the best products out there. So that was what my website was about. And then I had a friend who's also a blogger ask me if I wanted to try Young Living. And just to backtrack, I always say, and a lot of people, like many, I've heard this from multiple people, but you could never say the wrong thing to the right person. Like you could have the best scripted out that like, oh my gosh, I'm going to tell Sarah this and it's going to be perfect and she's gonna say yes. Or you could verbally vomit all over Sarah and she would still say yes. So when I had been approached multiple times by Young Living members, by other network marketing companies, all the time, like, hey, you're a blogger, this would be really great. And I'm like, not interested. Even my sister had been in different network marketing companies, brought it up to me, and I was like, no, I'm really cool with my social work job. So this had been going on for, a couple of years, just being approached by different people. All that to say is, if you have somebody that said no to you, last week, they might say yes in 3 years. They might say yes in 2 years. They might say yes tomorrow. And that by keeping that contact with them, when they're ready to say yes, if they do say yes, it'll be to you, not to the other person. So I remember I was approached by multiple people about Young Living. And one of them in particular was a silver when I got started with Young Living. She might still be a silver. I'm always like, I wonder if she's kicking herself. Like, why didn't she ask me again? And it was just, I was in this blogging community, and the girl I enrolled with, Lindsay Grammont, she's an RCD right now. And she had got started with the oils, and she just started reaching out to her blogger friends. And guess what? I started reaching out to my blogger friends. So that's kind of how I got started. And I grew quite quickly at the beginning. And once I grew quite quickly, and then I always just assumed I would hit the next rank because things move so quickly. And I feel like when I hit diamond is almost when I was like, oh, this is actually how it works. And not saying that everything I went through from, star to diamond wasn't important. It's just that right now there's a big rush. You guys notice, you feel the momentum happening, like everyone wants to try oils. It's just this boom. And when I got started, probably in 2013 is when this boom happened with oils. And it kind of went through 2014 and 2015. And then somewhere around 2015, it kind of went down a little bit. And I just feel that the momentum in essential oils is now up on the upward spiral again, that people are like, oh yeah, it's hot. So it has its waves, right? Different companies have waves, different products have waves. And I rode that wave all the way to diamond. And I sometimes feel like I wish I wouldn't have rode that wave to diamond. I wish I would have actually, I know you're laughing, but like I see so many people on my team that have sat at star for an X amount of time, then they've gone to senior star, and it's like they've grown with the rank. My mindset and my leadership had to catch up to my rank. And
that's so good, Stephanie. I'm laughing because we have been, girls, we were just looking at Julie's a silver, and we were just looking, you've been in for, what did we say last night? Almost 8 years, right? 8 years. So you're talking to some of the tried and true, like we are doing the process. We are living examples of exactly what you're talking about there. So I appreciate the insight that you have at this point to look back and go, that struggle is worth it for the audience that we are.
I see like some of my gold leaders, I'm like, wow, you're really good. I was like, not like that at gold, because I wasn't there as a leader. I was just like, oh, I'm gold. I don't know what that means. And it's not to be like arrogant or like ego. I got into this and grew so quickly. Like I said, I didn't have a chance to grow into the leader. And I even see some of my platinums, I'm like, wow, you are so good. When you hit diamond, you're going to like blow it up, because they're great leaders. And not to say I wasn't good when I was platinum. I just wasn't, it's almost like I hadn't caught up to myself yet. And I sometimes wonder, had I gone a little bit slower, but everything for me, it happened the way it was supposed to happen. And that's the way it happened. And I look back now and I'm like, maybe that's why I'm at diamond. The amount of time I've been at diamond is because all that, star to platinum, like, I need to catch up. You know what I mean? I had to catch up to what I was doing. They're like, oh, you hit that so fast. Hey, universe, we're just going to leave you at diamond for a while so you can like figure your crap out and then get to crown, right? And, I hear so many stories about people have grown so fast and they get to diamond. But then I hear other stories. There's a girl that just hit diamond. Her name is Mary. She's originally from the Philippines. moved to Canada, I'm not sure how many years ago. She was sitting at silver for 2 years. Okay, sitting at silver for 2 years. She hit gold like in May or June this year. She hit platinum in July. No, I think she hit like gold. Yeah, she hit gold sometime this spring. She hit platinum in June, and she hit diamond in July.
Holy moly.
So that 2 years that she was sitting at silver, she's probably super grateful.
Wow.
So this just show you, like, I don't know what her OGV was at silver. Maybe she has a large OGV and was waiting for legs to happen. I don't know that, but she was sitting at silver for 2 years, and then all of a sudden a light went off, or she just recruited these really great people, or something happened for that switch to go off, and then it was like gold, platinum, diamond. I don't know exactly when she hit gold. I feel like I'm yelling at you guys. I'm sorry. There's no one in the house, so I feel like I'm yelling at you. I don't know exactly when she hit gold, but she definitely hit platinum in June, and then she hit it last month, diamond. And it's just to show you that just because you're sitting at a rank for a certain amount of time doesn't mean you can hit the other ranks quickly, or because you hit a rank quickly doesn't mean you're going to hit the other ranks quickly. Like, I seriously, when I got to diamond, I'm like, when I got to platinum, I'm like, oh, I should be diamond anytime now. And I'm like, oh, I have to like really bust my ass. Not saying that I wasn't working hard. I didn't know what to expect. And then when I got to diamond, I'm like, I really have to start changing how I do things, because it just, that growth I had wasn't quote unquote normal. You know what I mean? It just wasn't. And that growth that many of us had was just kind of not quote unquote normal. Like,
well, and there's this, I think there's a myth that goes on in Young Living too. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but, and that's why it's so humbling to talk to you, because you're truly like that unicorn blogger who did, I mean, through affiliate connections and a following that you already had, were able to then turn those people into business, you know, customers, business builders, product users, that kind of thing. And we've studied that only because there are many people that think, oh, I'll just start a blog then. And it's not that. It's not that. That's not the thing. It's not a website. It's not a blog to help drive followers. You had already established that. So I'm really glad that you shared that part of the story.
And
like this was, yeah.
I think it's, you know, some of you might go to church. Some of you might go to the gym. Some of you might get a massage every week. Some of you might do something where you've connected with people and you've connected over the years. And so many people, not so much now they say it, but I feel like a couple of years ago, right when I hit diamond, people were like, oh, you're a blogger. That's why you got to diamond. It was almost like a very negative thing. And I'm like, whoa, hold the train. You don't know what I was doing from 2011. Yeah, I started my blog in spring 2011 until I enrolled in 2014. I was blogging every single day, writing blog posts, and was not being paid unless I had people bought Amazon. I mean, I made $500 or $1,000, let's say. I was on Facebook, I was on Instagram, I was on Twitter, talking to people, connecting with people, creating a following. I created that for like 3 or 4 years. And then I started my network marketing company, started with Young Living, and I was like, wow, I've already created this network and now I can tap into it. So if you've been going to church for 3 years and you've made all these friends, when you start your network marketing company, you get to tap into those friends. You get to tap in your friends in the gym. If you've been using Instagram for 3 years and you have all these followers, you get to tap into that. You know, like I said, whatever community you've had prior to network marketing, you get to tap into that. It just so happened that blogging is where I put my time for so long. And that's where I met so many people. Like, I have, you know, my first 3 frontline are all bloggers that 4 of them are all bloggers I connected with. One of them has hit diamond and will probably hit crown diamond this month. And she's like my unicorn leg, and the others, they're building the business. And, you know, 4 of those were blogging friends I just happened to connect with. And the first person I ever enrolled was a blogger. And how I enrolled her was, she posted in a Facebook group, in our blogging group, and said, hi, hey everyone, I want to buy these essential oils. Does anyone know if you can buy like a starter pack or something? And it popped up in my news feed. And I sent her a message. I'm like, Christy, I sell oils. I think there's a starter pack. because I didn't have to buy a PSK in Canada. We didn't have to buy a starter kit right away. So I was like, yes, there's a starter kit, I think, in Canada. And then she's like, okay, send me a link. And then she bought it. And like that stuff still happens, but it's just so funny. That was like the first person I ever enrolled. That is my story. And the rest were a process. It was constantly talking to them. You know, I have one friend that was a blogger, and I don't know how she ever decided to enroll, but like I hounded her so much. And she tells this story of like, oh my gosh, Stephanie was like, can you not just see the big picture? It's not affiliate marketing. And she's a platinum now. And she's like, I'm so glad you were hounding me, and not hounding in a negative way. And that's all to say, like, if there's, you know, going back to what I was saying before, if there's somebody you've reached out to, however you've reached out to them, whether you ask them, do you want to look at the product or you want to look at the business, and they've said no, keep that filed somewhere. And then you just keep that connection going, because if maybe one of the other people that were in another network marketing company or were in Young Living had reached out to me again, I might have said yes. But I think, go ahead.
Because Lindsay reached out to you and had the connection.
Well, I think it's because she just said, you want to make money? And I said, yes. She knew I didn't want to go back to work. She knew that Jackson was 9 months old, and she knew that I didn't want to go back to my social work job, that I liked being at home, but I wanted to work. I loved blogging. I still love blogging, excuse me. But I wanted to keep that. And she knew that. So she played all those points. Like, Stephanie, it's like Amazon, but like every time somebody buys something, you make money. It's not like a one-time purchase. I'm like, okay. But I just had this bad, not experience necessarily, but you know, those people you've spoken to and they're like, ooh, MLMs, like we all have them, or 20 of them. And I was one of those people. When people are like, do you want to do network marketing? I'm like, not so much. I don't know if anyone's heard of ACN. They're a network marketing company that sells like internet and phone, so you could change your phone provider to them instead of using whoever you're using now. And that's what my sister did. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to sell that. Like, doesn't seem like something I want to do. And, you know, even Juice Plus, you know, my stepsister does Juice Plus, and she reached out to me when I was going through postpartum with my daughter, which was not a good time. But maybe if she would have asked me a year later, maybe I would have been, oh, okay, yeah. It was just not good. Like, she could have said anything to me and I would have been like, yeah, it's not happening. But we all have those people that have this negative view of network marketing. We all do. We probably have 10, we have 20. I know tons of them. And it's not trying to convince them that to have a positive experience with it. It's to show them that it doesn't have to be that gross, because most people think it's gross. Like, I get why to a certain point, but if you compare affiliate marketing to network marketing, it's pretty much the same thing, except when someone buys a mug on Amazon and then they buy a shirt, I'm not getting necessarily paid for the shirt because they clicked on someone else's link for that shirt. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But it's just, I think there's just been so much that's happened in the network marketing profession that in the past specifically, that people just get this negative feeling. And I don't know if any of you know Richard Bliss Brooke, but he talks about this a lot, that it's not trying to argue with them or make them see your point or, you know, make them feel that they're wrong. It's just to listen to them and ask questions. So if you have a friend that's like, yeah, Julie, yeah, I don't do network marketing. Like, that is so 1980. And you're like, okay, well, instead of saying, well, I do network marketing and I made $500 last month, so I don't know why you think it's a scam. And that's how people react sometimes, because you get this gut feeling. You're like, I bought into this network marketing. I like it. And now you're telling me that I'm wrong, right? But instead of having that gut reaction, it's, okay, Julie, you're saying it so 1980s. Like, what happened between 1980 and 2020 for you to think that way? And they might say, well, my brother was doing it and he had to buy all this inventory for X company and he had $1,000 of inventory and he couldn't sell it. And you're like, oh, that sounds absolutely horrible. My heart goes out to him that he had to spend $1,000 and didn't get a return and wasn't able to sell it, because I would not want to do anything like that. And then it's asking questions and finding out why it is that they didn't like network marketing. And then you might say something like, well, the company I'm in, we don't have to buy products up front. If you wanted to buy an oil, you just got to click on the link and buy it. Like, I never have to buy product. The only time I have to buy product is if it's for me to use. And then the person might say, oh, but anyways, I don't like it. And that's fine. But then they might open up a little bit more because you listen to them and you ask them questions versus kind of attacking their thoughts, right? So I think it's super important when you get that somebody saying that they don't want to do network marketing, it's to ask them why. Like, they probably had some sort of bad experience, or they had someone tell them a story. Like, they might not have had the bad experience, or they heard through a friend of a friend that this happened. For me, it wasn't necessarily something that happened. I just saw my sister, it looked like she was hustling to get people to buy, to change their internet. I was like, wow, it seems like she's hustling. Like, it just, like, not a fun hustling. Like, it just seemed really hard to be like, well, all you have to do is call your company and then you switch it over. And I was like, that doesn't seem like something I want to do. That was my experience. And that's why I had this bad vibe with network marketing. But then when I had someone explain it to me and I saw it for myself, it obviously changed, right? So I guess one big tip is, if you get somebody that's totally does not like network marketing, is just to listen to them and ask them some leading questions. And maybe that will lead into a very positive conversation. And they might still have their wall up, but at least you try to have that conversation with them. Because like I said, we've all had different experiences, and we've all had an experience with network marketing, whether it's positive or negative. So I think it's important to allow people to express themselves, because what happens most of the time is Angela tells me she doesn't want to do network marketing, and then I get all like in a huffy, and I'm like, well, damn you.
I'm going to show her.
Yeah. I'm going to show her, and I'm going to shove all my stats down her throat, which pushes her more away, right? Yeah. And well, it's, and like, I also think anything.
Well, and I think too, like, we don't even maybe bring it up because we're embarrassed. Like, I know I've had conversations with a couple of the women on the call today who've said, like, I don't want to admit that I'm part of a network marketing, group or a network marketing business, or that's how I'm making extra money, because I'm too ashamed of it. So I think busting through, like, listening to your own old messages and kind of going through just what you did there, Stephanie, of like, what was it about your sister's opportunity that felt icky to you, and then this felt natural and real and an opportunity to stay home with your daughter, like, that's really key.
And I think even though sometimes people say no, it's not necessarily no to the business or no to the product. They just might not like the product. Like, there's a bunch of network companies that approached me, and I think back and I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I didn't join, because the reason I joined Young Living was for the oils. That was 150% the reason I joined. I wanted to learn how to use essential oils. Whether I like all their other products is not important to me, because I love their oils, and that's what I talk about. So it's also another good point is, like, if you don't wear makeup, it doesn't matter. You don't have to like every product that Young Living has. And it's important that you're like, oh, I don't really wear a lot of makeup. Then don't talk about it. Like, I'm 150% cool not talking about any other products than the oils. That's what I do. I talk about oils. I talk about diffusers. If someone asks me about supplements, I'm like, oh yeah, we have supplements. I use these ones or these ones. But it's not that I don't want to talk about them. It's just oils is my jam. I've always loved oils. I'm DIYer. I love all those things. And it's super authentic for me to talk about it. So you have to also remember, when you approach a friend, they might not like oils, and they might not want to learn how to use oils, and that's okay. And then the next week they might get approached by Juice Plus, and they might say yes, and it has nothing to do with you. It just might mean that those products, Juice Plus, resonates more with her than oils. Like, I have so many friends that I'm like, why didn't you come to Young Living? Like, you joined with another company. Like, I showed you the opportunity, but it's just maybe they didn't see or weren't able to visualize or see how they could sell oils to somebody. And maybe they could visualize how to sell shakes. I don't know, maybe that's why they went with like another company. So I think it's also important to keep in mind and not get down on yourself when a friend or somebody else decides to join another company. It's probably nothing to do with you. I mean, sometimes there's like a 1% it has to do with you, but there's a good chance that it's just the products didn't resonate. My sister does Unique, and I'm always like, why did you join Unique? Like, seriously? But the thing was, I never asked my sister because I never thought she would do it. And here I'm like, and she's doing Unique and she's doing okay, right? And again, another good example is not to dismiss anybody. Like, I know so many people that I'm like, oh, I totally should have reached out to them. But I had it in my head that they would not be interested.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, when you see somebody like promoting another product and you're like, wait a minute, you love our products. Why are you promoting this other product now? It's just a little bit deflating to be like, huh,
yeah,
how did that happen?
Well, because you never ask them. Not saying you, but like in general.
It's on me. I know, exactly.
You never ask them. Like, I've had that, a lot of people part of, you know, that are members, and I see them promoting, like, I don't know, some other company. I'm like, oh, did you not know that you could do Young Living? But I never told them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know. If people, like, we all assume that people know it's network marketing when they join a company. Until you tell them, they have no idea. They just think you sent a link and now they're buying oils. They don't know it's necessarily network marketing. So until you tell them, they don't know. So maybe they went with Unique because they were buying makeup from Unique. They're buying oils from Angela. And then they're like, Unique lady was like, did you know you could make like an extra $50? She's like, I had no idea. Boom. Now she's a mascara slinger, right? Instead of selling oils, because we never told her. So also never to assume that everybody knows. And also never to assume that people know what you're selling. Oh, well,
so true.
She knows I sell oils. She'll come to me when she needs oils. Not necessarily, because they might have other friends that use oils. They might randomly find someone on the internet that uses oils. They might find an influencer that uses oils and they think it's cool to sign up with the influencer. So again, never discount people because you don't think they'll want to do the business or buy the product. And also, don't forget to tell people. Like, it's the same thing. Don't forget to tell people, because if they don't know, they won't try it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important because, like you said, I've had people that all of a sudden they're selling this product. I'm like, oh crap, I totally should have told them.
Well, and we've just recently started talking too. Adam Green has been a big friend of ours for a long time. He came down and studied with Connie McDaniel back in the day. And so one of the things I actually recorded him sharing with our group many years ago was this whole don't fish from two boats concept of like, stick with a company. Like, it's one thing to have affiliates because you are a blogger and you can have Amazon links and links to things and the ways other companies make things happen. Right. But when it comes to network marketing, stick with a network marketing company so that your brand doesn't get fuzzy. Is that something you would also agree with? Yeah, I mean, you say process the same way as Adam, so I just figured you probably thought the same about this as well.
Well, I think there's a difference between promoting multiple network marketing companies and having extra streams of income. You know what I mean? I'm a big advocate for multiple streams of income, but not from two different network marketing companies. Like, I'm not going to go sign up with Juice Plus and start selling Juice Plus and be selling oils. Like, that I wouldn't do. But, you know, I definitely have affiliate links. I'm growing my brand, you know, my Good Girl Gone Green brand, you know, to eventually offer courses and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, people that have like the regular 9-to-5 job, and we always, I guess it's just, I've been the last year, I'd say even year or two, I've been really reevaluating like people that have their 9-to-5 job. Maybe they actually like it. Like, shocking, you know, because as network marketers, like, oh, you could lose your 9-to-5. And that's great. But there's actually people out there that love it and don't want to, right? And I'd say mostly the last year, I've been really realizing that some people want to still have that stream of income. They still want to make their $40,000 a year or 50 or 60, whatever they make from their company, from their you know, their job, but they're looking to Young Living to bring in extra. And if they hit diamond, amazing. And if they don't, amazing. But they want to have still those two streams of income for, I can name a multiple reasons why. Like my husband, he quit his job when I hit platinum just to be able to help because I was going insanely crazy. And he came home, helped for a certain amount of time. He's just like, this is really not for me. And I'm like, yeah, we're not jiving business together. And so he went back and he did his master's for 2 years, his MBA. And then 2 years ago, he started his own company. And we always talked about, this is not a bad thing that I'm starting my own company. And now there's a stream of income that recently just started. He's finally getting a paycheck from his company, but recently just started. There's a stream coming from there. There's a stream coming from Young Living. And then I'm going to have another stream coming in from, you know, my sales when it comes to Good Girl Gone Green. So I think we have to keep that in mind because there's so many people out there that might be bloggers or influencers or this or that, and they love what they do, but having another stream from Young Living is complementing what they do. Like,
for sure.
And, you know, someone, you know, yeah, Angela, you said the benefits of the company. Like if you have a job that you hate, yeah, okay, it makes sense. But someone, you know, might work part-time as a nurse twice a week and they love it and they can't picture themselves not going into their job twice a week, but then they have 5 other days or 3 other days that they can potentially devote to Young Living and bring in extra income. And they might not want to give up their nurse's salary because, like, to be honest, whether you're network marketing or you're in a corporate job or you're working at like a grocery store, any job can disappear tomorrow. You can get fired for many reasons. You know, everything with COVID happening, how many businesses have shut down, right? How many network marketing companies have gone like this and how many have gone like this? Like, just, you never know what's going to happen in life. And I'm just more of I'm not putting all my eggs into one basket. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying don't run for diamond and run for silver and, you know, run for those things. Yes, absolutely. But I'm looking at it from a lens of, you know, yes, Young Living's been around for 25 years. I have zero doubt that they're going to plummet tomorrow, but anything can happen in life. Maybe they go public. I'm not saying this is happening. I have no inside information. Zero inside information. But,
Phew.
But just think of there's network marketing companies that have shut down. There are businesses that have been around. Like Aldo is like a huge shoe store in Canada and parts of the United States. They went bankrupt. They've had to shut down more than half of their stores and probably transition to online, which is not new for them. Like, just think of this huge company that happened to. So it's not saying that Young Living is shutting down tomorrow. It's just to look at the bigger picture. So for me, the light bulb went off when JP's like, us having different streams of income, whether it's from real estate, whether from it's investing. I'm not saying you have to have 5 jobs, but like real estate, investing, this or that, having these different streams is not a negative thing at all. And I think it's important because, you know, one thing can fall and then the other one can help you bring it up, right?
Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of went on a tangent there, sorry.
No, for sure. Well, and we, you know, we've talked about that too, you know, the rumors of bring your husband home from work, right? Or the, you know, the kind of what you're tapping into there is the vision of where are you creating abundance in your life? Like where is that going to come from long term? I mean, yes, you know, a network marketing salary or a network marketing commission is a legacy company that can be passed down to generations, but truly, what else is in your pot to kind of spread and divide the needs that you have, for sure.
And I think the other question is, does your husband want to come home?
Right.
I think we all assume, like, our husbands are like,
Liesel's like, no.
I want to stay
Especially
home.
after COVID, I think people are like, I talked to a woman this morning, I just met her on the street, and she's like, I don't know what to do now. My husband's home all the time working from home and I just have to get out. And she like friended me on the street, like, hey, can I walk my dog with you? Okay, sure. We can walk dogs together. That's right. I just need a break from my husband. This is 6:30 in the morning, mind you. I was like, okay, right away. First thing, we're going to get a break from the husband.
But I think it's that like my husband was like, okay, I'm not saying he wanted to stay home, but he was like, he saw that, you know, going back and forth to daycare with 2 kids, taking care of the house, whatever I would do. He's working full time. I'm home during the day. So yeah, I would vacuum. I'm OCD when it comes to certain things. I only do them. I only do the laundry. But I was doing those things, and I'm like figuring out my network marketing company. I'm driving this to daycare, and they're not there all day. I would only keep them certain times. So he saw that I was on the struggle bus, and he's like, well, when you get to a certain income, we can talk about it. And it happened to get to a certain income, and the company was starting to lay people off. So the first wave of layoffs, he wasn't laid off. He's like, I'm not ready to take a package. The second wave of layoffs, he wasn't going to be laid off, but he was going to get a substantial package if he decided to leave. And he's like, well, your income's here. We're going to get 6 months of a salary, and your income's going to go up. Now might be a good time. And it was good for a while, but he just saw that we were just like not on the same page, like I'd been running this business for so long, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and like, you're not telling me what to do. Like this, no. But then he didn't love to do the back end stuff. He's like, I don't want to do accounting. Like that is boring. Like right. It is boring. That's why I don't do it. And he just realized like this wasn't what he wanted to do. And we never really had that conversation of, do you actually want to be home? And then we had the conversation when he was home. He's like, I like to be home, but I also want something else. So it's also to think, is that what your partner wants? Your wife, your husband, whoever, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever you're with, does your partner actually want to stay home? Because I know many couples where the partner's like, no. Like, look at Melissa Pepping. She's an RCD, and her husband's like, I mean, I don't know their whole story, but he's not involved in Young Living. He does his thing, whatever that thing is. I think the family owns a butcher or something. I'm not really sure the whole story, but I think it's passed down family to family in the small town that their family owned a butcher shop. And I think he just kept doing that because that's what he was supposed to do. They live on a big farm. I mean, not a farm, but like acreage for themselves. And he takes care of that. He's a mechanic. That's what brings him joy. So if Melissa would have said, hey, you're going to stay home, he probably would have been like, no, I need to move. I need to do things. So it's also to keep that in mind that maybe your partner doesn't want to, and to have that conversation with them.
That's awesome, Steph. Thank you so much for just that insight of visioning and the conversations that have to happen to start to make some of those realities, right? Some of those dreams become reality. What, as we're wrapping, like we have about 10 more minutes probably, do you, some of you have been posting some comments in the chat. Do you guys want to come live? Do you have questions for Stephanie? I'd love to hear, we have a lot of executives on the call who are, curious, like, what is something, like, is there something that you're teaching and training to be duplicatable, to help? I love what you've given us in terms of talking about network marketing and the belief structure there. But what would be some advice you would give to do the actions to that next rank? That leadership development that you were saying, like that process, right? That you started at the beginning, like the struggle that you have to go through in order to emerge on the other side. Does that make sense?
Okay. I cut out. Well, you cut out, but it's
I cut out. Is it me? Sorry.
I think it's my internet sucks.
Okay.
So you just wanted like
have you ever
tips
heard of ANC?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
It's probably my internet. My internet. Can you hear me okay? I probably froze it.
Your face is frozen, but we hear your voice.
Okay. Okay. My face is frozen. Awesome. Tell me when I'm unfrozen.
Better now. Better now. Yeah.
I think I had this friend say this to me. The person that has the most conversation is going to be winning. And I'm not saying winning like, oh, you're winning a lot, like winning in moving forward in your business. And I honestly believe that. And I've been very vocal on building my business online. And with everything with COVID, I think now it's kind of, you're forced to do it. I think it's going to be a while before people are like, hey, let's get 20 people in a room. Let's all talk about oils. Maybe an event, if you're having, evangelists having like 20 friends over because you're all part of your team together, maybe that would happen. But I think the day of, hey, let's have like this big class at someone's house, I just feel like there's just so much unknown and so much fear in all the directions, or no fear. Like everyone just has their own ideas. Masks, no mask. Is it true? Is it not true? Is this like, there's just so much out there. And everyone has their own opinions on what is going on. So you have the people that will never leave their house again, potentially. And then you have people that are like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm leaving my house. So it's like, you never know who you're talking to. You never know if you're talking to the person that's, yay, I'm leaving my house and I want to go meet people. Or are you talking to the person that is only leaving their house still to get groceries? Like you just never know who you're talking to. And I just feel like this whole online thing is really where the growth is going to happen right now. And I think one is to have online classes. If that's what you like to do and that's your jam, do it. If that's working for you, getting 5 women on a Zoom call and talking about oils in the business, do it. If talking one-on-one with somebody on Zoom is working for you, do it. If recruiting online one-on-one works for you and you're okay talking to people you don't know really, keep doing that. So I kind of have always been an online person, and it's hard because our team, quick synapse, our team just kind of exploded, right? All these leaders popping up everywhere, everyone kind of doing their own thing. So we have all these different ways of growing their business, but I think it always comes down to those connections. Always comes down to conversations. The person having the most conversation is going to be winning. And, whether that is having a Zoom call class, whether that's having a one-on-one on Zoom with somebody, or any other technology that you use to have conversations, or it's quote unquote prospecting on social media with people you don't know. And that's what I do. I do every day. I'm on social media. I'm finding new people, getting to know them. A friend of mine, I can quickly tell you this. A friend of mine talked to me about this. She calls it the 3-3-3 method. And in a synapse, what she does is, and there's so many trainers out there that say, just cold message people and go for no. That works really well for some people, not so much for me. Then you have the other people that are like, I need to know them really well and get to know them. And then a year goes by and you're like, it's awkward to ask about the oils now. So you have those two extremes, cold messaging and then rapport building, which sometimes could last 5 years. And so my friend who is in a different network marketing company, she does this 3-3-3 method. And what it is, for 3 days, you connect with somebody and then you rip off the Band-Aid. So basically it's, say today is a day 1, I've never done this before, and I go on Instagram and I find 5 people through a hashtag, or I find 5 people that I think look super cool, or I find 5 people that are green living bloggers. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to their Instagram. I'm going to watch their stories. I'm going to comment on some of their stuff. I'm going to maybe respond to a story. So I get in their DM, because that's where conversations happen. And I basically do that for 3 days. I just connect with them for 3 days. Just like waving my hand going, hey, do you see me? But also being authentic, like maybe asking them authentic questions, maybe starting a conversation some way, but for 3 days. And then after you've done that for 3 days, kind of just rip off the Band-Aid. So you've had a chance to get to know them, and then you rip off the Band-Aid. And you could rip off the Band-Aid something like, hey, I've been following you for the last couple of days. I really loved watching your stories. I think the story about your son was super cute. It was so funny. You kind of just say like a little compliment, and then you could say something. I would kick myself if I didn't ask you, but I was wondering if you would be open to taking a look at how to make an extra $500 a month. Would you be open to taking a look at how I make some extra money? Would you be open to taking a look at, insert whatever it is you want to ask them? I usually lead with the business first, because if they say no to the business, the fallback is the oils. If they say no to the oils, they're definitely not doing the business. And then if they say they are open, so I say, are you open to learning how to XYZ? If not, no worries. And then at that point, I wait to see if they're going to respond. If they say yes, I have a short video that I can send them. I have a 4-minute video that I made that is super short, that talks about oils and then the business. I have a 13-minute video that talks all about the premium starter kit. And then I have another video I did with a leader that's like 30 minutes long. And I kind of just depending on the conversation, or if they don't want to watch a video, I have copied and pasted and left it somewhere what I would just copy and paste what I would respond to them. Like, oh, okay, you want to learn about the business? Awesome. If they say, yes, I'm open, I'll say, is it okay if I send you a quick video, and will you watch it? And if they say, no, I don't watch videos, I'll say, okay, I'll just send you a regular message. And that's kind of the process that I take. And so those more conversations that you're having, the more enrollments you're going to get, right? You're going to find people that say yes. But then that's not to say that I'm not connecting with people I do know. It's not to say I might not have a Zoom call and invite 10 people to, and have a regular class. It's just, go ahead.
So Stephanie, the 333 is the 3 days of responding. This is gold. I'm penciling in all the
video I just did for my team.
Oh, please. That would be even better. But yeah, so it's the 3 days, and then it's rip the Band-Aid off and contact them. Are there
So it's for 3 days because you're kind of getting to know them. It's not like that cold messaging. So they've seen your face, you've been in their DM. So what I'll do is I try to find people that do stories every day, so it's not awkward, that at least do stories every day and that might post regularly. So I'm at least watching their stories so they see my little face on Instagram. And this you can do on Facebook. If Facebook is your jam, you can do this on Facebook, but how it would be different is still watch their stories, but you would maybe go to their Facebook page and connect with them on their Facebook page. Or, hey, I haven't spoken to you in a really long time. I just wanted to say hi. Something like that. Or hey, responding to stories is always a good way to get into somebody's inbox, because you're like waving your hand, but you're not saying, hi, I just wanted to say hi. Like you can respond to stories on Facebook. So that's how you can also get into their inbox without being like, hi, we haven't spoken in a long time. I wanted to get to know you again. I'm like, no, you don't. You want to sell me something. So just like tell me, instead of saying that's where I'm at. So I'm either like, be direct with me. Hey, Stephanie, we haven't spoken in a while. I'm with Unique. Will you buy my products? Like, I want you to do that. Okay.
But don't backdoor me.
Or do like the 333, like randomly get into my inbox, by responding to my stories or anything like that, or responding on stuff that I do. And like, to give you an example, so we're moving September 1st. And I said to my husband, JP, I'm like, I feel like I need an organizer. Like, I know I need bins to put stuff in. I said, but wouldn't it be cool if we had someone when we move that would come, like we could show her like maybe what the house looks like before she comes, and she could come be like, okay, set up your planks, like your, blend tech like this and all this, like put all your stuff here in the kitchen and set up your bathroom like this. So everything's organized. It's not like a hot mess express. And so I posted in 2 Facebook groups, local groups, and said, hey, I'm looking for an organizer to help me get my shit together because I'm so not organized and I'm moving. Prerequisite, they need to know how to laugh, smile, and not take life seriously. Like, I don't want an anal organizer. Like, put this like this. I'm like, no, you need to laugh or something. And so I got all these messages, like, not messages, but people, oh, this person's amazing, amazing, amazing. And one person, okay, I went on Instagram and I found who I could on Instagram and I followed them. And one person followed me back. She shared something in my stories. Like, I had a quote on my Facebook, on my Instagram. She shared that quote and she wrote me a message and she commented. I'm like, I think I'm just going to hire her because she went out of her way to come to my Instagram after I followed her. And then I sent her another message responding to something. She's like, oh my God, Stephanie, that sounds so great. I never brought up any of the organizing. I know she's an organizer and I'm probably going to hire her because she went out of her way to share something on Instagram. You know what I mean? So it just shows you that those short minute connections can really make a difference. They really can.
That's
so I
so
did this
good.
10-minute video for my team last week. It's in relation to the 333 method, but it's, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Trello. Do you use Trello? It's an app. And that's how I keep track of everybody. And it's free and it's on your phone and it's online and it's the best tool in the world. I use it for so much more than just this. I use it for list building, to connect, anyway, it's a really great tool. It's free. And so I did a video showing them how I do this 333 method and how I keep track of people, because you can move people. Anyway, you have to watch the video to know what I'm talking about. But like, say you have a list here, here, and here, and day one is here, you can move that, you just slide the person over here, and then you don't have to retype anything. And so I talk about the 3-3-3 method, but I am going to do another video, like a 5-minute video explaining again. So if someone just watches that video, but the video I just did, that's 12 minutes, I'm happy to send it to you. You can watch it and share it whichever way you want. And then when I do the other video, I can share it with you as well. And it's, there's so much more to the 3-3-3 method, meaning like how to find people and how to connect. But the essence is for 3 days, find however amount of people you want, whether it's 5 people a day, 10 people a day, 2 people a day, whatever it is. Because that means if say you started today, Thursday, by Saturday, you're ripping off the Band-Aid. And as of Saturday, every day you are going to have at least 2 people to ask to do the business or take a look at the oils.
Awesome.
For 2 days. And I also do this for my non-Young Living. So another trick to connect with people, either I do this more so on Instagram than Facebook, but if you do use Instagram, when someone follows me, I have to backtrack because I get a lot of followers, but what I do is like once a week, I'll go back on my followers list and I send them all a message. And it's like, it's not an automatic message. It's like, hey, Julie, if I know they're a Young Living person, I changed it around a bit, but say they're with Young Living, I'll be like, hey, Julie, thanks so much for the follow. I really, really appreciate it. I see that you're with Young Living. So am I. That's awesome. And then I'll say something like, if you'd like to download my eco shopping guide. So every person that I send a message to, I'm getting them to download my eco shopping guide. So you might have a little PDF, like one sheet that might be like 10 ways to use lavender. I don't know, I'm making this up right now. You could just create it in a Google Doc for all I care and say, hey, when you send someone a message to say thank you for following me, you could be like, hey, thanks so much for the follow. If they are with Young Living, I always, don't want to be weird. If they're not, then I'll say, hey, my mission is to guide women on how to live a little more green without the overwhelm, and also how to make a little more green. You can download my eco shopping guide and let me know, blah, blah, blah. And then they always get back to me and they download my eco shopping guide. So something you guys could do is literally have a Google Doc and it says 10 ways to use lavender and offer that to new people to create that connection with them. And it could even be, if you really want their email address, it could be like, hey, if you pass along your email address, I can email you the copy. So then you're getting their email address. I mean, I have a database that takes care of my email addresses. You guys are not having that. You don't have that right now, but you can just save all the emails together and like, you're going to see the video I do for Trello. You can save them all there or in a spreadsheet, but you could also save them in a spreadsheet and write a note beside it. I sent them 10 ways to use lavender. And put the date beside it. And then now you have their name and, put a link to their Instagram. Like this is just an idea that you could do. That's because awesome. People that follow you, if you want to give them content, right? And it doesn't always have to be about oil. So the more that you give someone, the more that you're going to receive. So if you're always take, right? So if someone follows you and you offer them, hey, would you like my 10 ways on how to use lavender? Or it doesn't even have to be about oils. It could be 10 ways, my favorite 5 DIY recipes. It could be a bath salt, a sugar scrub, a spray, a roll-on, and a foaming soap. And it could just be, like I said, in a Google Doc. And the reason you're asking for the email address is because you want their email address. And then they'll say, oh, sure. They're going to give it to you. And you'll say, I'm going to email that to you by the end of the day. And then you just go into your Gmail or your Hotmail or whatever you use, write them a little note. Here's the guide that you asked for. And
That's awesome. Woo! Stephanie, you brought the gold, girl.
And I don't know if you guys I haven't even talked to my team about this, but I had a conversation with someone that's new and we were chatting and she's a hairdresser and she's ridiculously busy, but needs to slow down and wants to do Young Living. And so she uses, have you ever heard of Calendly? It's like a way to schedule stuff. She uses a different way. Anyways, So we were just chatting and she's like, how do I capture their email addresses? And I was like, well, you're not going to get an email service now. Like that's just, just use your email. And then more that we had the conversation, we realized that on Calendly or another way, you could like set up a Zoom call, let's say for, I don't know, August 17th, you want to have a Zoom, and you set it up as if it was like a slot for people to pick. And you can actually on Calendly open it up that multiple people can pick the same slot. So you could set up on Calendly and go on Facebook or Instagram and be like, hey, I'm having a class on April 17th, all about how to use oils. If you'd like to go, click on this link. Then they click on Calendly, they reserve it, they have to give their email address, and then they're gonna get a reminder email from Calendly that they have a class coming up. So it's like, most of you have probably bought something online, and what's happened, or you've gotten something for free online. Someone's like, get my free guide for blah, blah, blah. And what you do is you put your name, you put your email address, then a window pops up and it says, thank you so much for downloading this. Click here to get it. Then you get an email that says, oh, if you missed it, click here. This is called the funnel, okay? So this is like way advanced, but if you use Calendly, all you're doing is setting it up on a calendar. And it's like a mini funnel, a way to capture their email address without saying, hey, can you give me your email address?
So good. So good. Other ways of communicating. Thank you.
Well, because I would use Calendly, I would post in my group, hey, does anyone want to have a 15-minute conversation? I have 10 slots open this month. And they would click on Calendly and they'd see like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had these slots. And then they would just click on it and pick it, put their email address and reserve that time slot. But I went on Calendly and I noticed that you can set up an event and have multiple people click on the same one to join that event.
That's so good.
So
speaking of, we have our next event starting now because I double booked tonight back to back. And we have people in the funnel registered for my next call, which is our intro to business.
Oh, wow. But I have to do the email,
the video. Oh my gosh, Stephanie, you're amazing. You have brought so much wisdom. My hand got like I've got to go back and write down notes because it was so good. Thank you so much for spending an hour with us. We are super grateful. Tons of thank yous coming in. Questions. Lots new Young Living followers too. Good Girl Gone Green. Yes. Well, I'll relay them to you and then I can get back. And you guys can let me know if there was anything.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Well, thank you for having me. Can I take one picture?
Yes. We would love to. We love taking photos. Right, girls? Everybody's fixing their hair.
Okay. Smile. It's actually a boomerang. I like to do boomerangs, but fun. I like doing boomerangs when they're like, and then you see people just kind of swaying a little bit.
Right. Thanks, Steph. Have a great night, you guys.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, I'll keep you posted. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.